There's only one reason I didn't get fired from my very first job at Love That Yogurt. It was a family-owned business. My family. The first time I got canned was 6 weeks after joining the team at the Cool Out Cafe. It was my first summer home from college. During training, we had a whole lesson on scooping ice cream. I'm thinking, I don't need this. I come from Love That Yogurt. But I learned how to swivel my wrist so that a slender curl of ice cream forms along the inside of the scooper, leaving a big air hole in the middle. What a ripoff. The patrons of the Cool Out Cafe deserve solid balls of ice cream. When my manager caught me scooping heavy, he said, "We're going to have to ask you to leave." I said, "Forever?" I can't keep a job, but I'm an expert at getting one. It's like dating. You get dressed in a simple dark pantsuit. You undo the top button of your sky blue silk blouse and drape the collar over your lapel. You're a little nervous as you sit down with your potential boss. You think, this could be the one. You ask, how do you get into this line of work? You practice active listening. You nod and say, uh-huh, uh-huh. At some point in the interview, you are sure to say, I'm a team player. Before you leave, you shake your future boss's hand, firm but not too tight. You say, I just want to be part of something I believe in. After college, I got my first real job in New York City with I Can Work, Inc., helping able-bodied homeless people move from dependence to independence. I thought, yes, this is it. Homelessness is our nation's commentary on race, class, and the subjugation of women. Now I'm part of the revolution. On my first day, I took the subway to the Upper East Side of Manhattan. The office was the top floor of a brownstone where the two directors lived, John and Sheila McFadden. Sheila wore candy apple red high-heel shoes, fishnet stockings, and a cheerleader's miniskirt. She had cleavage everywhere. I thought, this is a strange setting for the revolution. On my second day, John stormed into the tiny office. Sheila, goddammit, why didn't we get Rockefeller? Sheila said, dunno. The next day, and the day after that, the same thing. Sheila in miniskirt and fishnets, and John bulldozing in to bark at Sheila. I was on my way to work at the start of my 5th week, thinking, here John is so generous, he'll pass out $5 bills to every homeless person he sees. But in private, out of the homeless limelight, he treats his wife like shit. As I stepped out from the subway station and into the light of day, the brilliant sky appearing between the towering buildings, a song from the musical Hair welled up inside of me. I started to sing. How can people be so heartless? How can they ignore their friends? Especially people who care about strangers, who say they care about social injustice. Do you only care about a bleeding crowd? How about a needing friend? I hurried into the office, rehearsing in my head what I would say. A speech about hypocrisy and compassion, and how can you say you stand for equality when you oppress your own wife? I approached John. May I speak with you? He sat in his chair with his knees spread wide apart. What's up, kiddo? I was careful to use I statements. I said, John, I feel uncomfortable when you yell at Sheila in front of me. He stood up, his red Irish nose seemed bigger and brighter. On his way out the door, he yelled, Sheila, do something with her. My next job was with an environmental... My next job was with an environmental organization called Save the Planet. I was hired to lead a national campaign against the proliferation of toxic chemicals. When I was assigned a desk in a loft that hovered over the office photocopier, I noticed the fumes were giving me cancer. I told my supervisor. She said she'd look into it, but when she didn't, I researched copy toner, the chemical makeup and their effects, and posted a note above the copier. I highlighted words such as particulate matter, carbon black, dementia, and respiratory disease. After 2 months developing black lung, I drafted a memo to the executive director asking for the immediate removal of the copy machine. I suggested that an exhaust system be affixed to the machine's vents to funnel excess waste along the ceiling and out the window. I included a list of bids, 10,000 to 14,000 from Canon, IBM, and Xerox. I added, I find it hypocritical that an organization with a stated mission to preserve the environment would expose its employees to life-threatening chemicals. Are we or are we not about saving the planet? Well, that starts at home. I waited 6 months. I was so happy when my coworker wrote a report called Hidden Hazards in the Workplace. But when she ran off 500 copies, I said, that's it. I circulated a petition to enlist the support of other like-minded workers, and when I had garnered a critical mass, I called a meeting with the executive director. We laid out our demands: the removal of the copy machine and a 20% raise for pain and suffering. After the meeting, my supervisor called me into her office alone. She said, Andrea, this organization's not for you. I packed up my gas mask and went home. There were other jobs and other failures, and I spent many years feeling like a loser. Recently, I saw the movie Up in the Air about a guy played by George Clooney whose job it was to let people go. He sat in front of hundreds of laid-off workers and told them something encouraging, like how empires were built by people in their position. One guy said, "Fuck you." My grandmother could have done Clooney's job. She sat in front of me, pointing an arthritic finger. "This is not your fault," she said. "The workplace cannot accommodate your leadership style. You, blah, 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 are bound for greatness." Maybe I should stop there. She told me that so many times, after so many lost jobs, that I started to believe her. And so I set up my own organization and made myself the boss. I like that much better. But what I've learned in my 25-year work history is that I'm not a team player. I'm happiest working alone, sitting at my desk in my home office, writing about me. My family moved on from yogurt. Now we're in real estate. I keep my mouth shut, and I'm back in the family business.